In this video, I'm going to be breaking down the 4 tax violations barbers make every single year and how to avoid them. To start off with tax violation number 1, when I first started cutting hair, I thought I was going to outsmart the system. I was making some money. It was the first time I ever made money, like cash money under the table, and I wasn't getting paid out in a check. It was the first time I actually held the money every single day. And so I just thought, well, if I don't put the money into the bank, technically, I don't have to go ahead and count this towards my taxes. Nobody actually knows I'm making money, which again too works in theory, and every barber has this idea. Now, when it came time to make some big boy moves, because at the time I was living with my parents, I was living in my mom's house, when it came time to make some big boy moves, like moving out of my apartment or moving out into an apartment by myself, I got hit with the cold reality that every single landlord did not think I was making money because I never had a paper trail. Because I never put any money in the bank, nobody thought I had zero proof of income whatsoever. I couldn't get a loan. If I wanted to buy a house, definitely could not buy a house. If I wanted to get a car, couldn't buy a car. I couldn't do anything outside of live in my mom's house and keep the cash in a safe. And overall, like for me, the resolution is simple. I had to start putting money in the bank to then start proving to people, hey, I actually run a legit business. I'm not just some type of drug dealer or doing things illegally. You can trust the fact that I'm actually going to make these payments. And that's again too, violation number 1. I simply was not putting money in the bank. And most barbers do not put their money into the bank for whatever reason. For me, I know for what I thought the bank was some evil corporation that was going to take and steal my money, and the government was going to be this big evil thing. When in fact, all it takes is a couple Google searches to figure out and find out that, to be quite honest, the FDIC, which is the federal government, insures every bank account owner up to $250,000. So your 10, 15, 5K, however much you have saved up in a little wad of cash in a shoebox or in a safe underneath the bed or in the closet is actually much safer, as it's insured up to $250,000 inside of a bank, and it's much safer there than it is sitting at your house. To add on top of that too, if you ever want to make any big boy moves or big girl moves, or actually make some adult life choices instead of living at your parents' house and never having anything in your name, you're going to have to show some proof that you actually make some type of income. And most barbers get the idea that if I don't put it inside my bank account, technically I don't have to put that on my taxes. And then, yes, that is correct. But that is going to come to bite you in the butt at some point in time. It's much better practice. Everything you have cash on hand, put it inside the bank. Number 1, it's going to actually give you a paper trail for some time down the road. Number 2, you're also not going to spend as much money as you would having cash on you, and you can actually track how much is inflow and outflow, because all you have to do is look at the count numbers of what you deposited and then what's removing. When you have cash on hand, it's very hard to keep track of what cash you actually spent, because you're not going to count the pennies that you got back in change. So it's violation number 1. Now, violation number 2. Every single year, I swear to God, April was the most stressful time of the year for me because I didn't know how to pay taxes. And on top of that, I was stressed because if I did have to pay taxes, I didn't know how much I had to pay. And I didn't know, if I didn't know how much I had to pay, did I even have enough money? And if I didn't have enough money, what's going to happen to me? I was scared shitless. Like, oh my God, the IRS, the government's going to come after me. I'm going to be thrown in jail. And I'm going to be the crook and the fucked up barber who didn't take care of their shit. And I'm going to be in trouble, right? And again, too, this was just added stress in terms of running a business, not scaling up, not making enough money, and then now not knowing if I have enough money to even pay for taxes that I don't even know if I have to pay. It was just a bunch of like bullshit I really didn't have to go through, because the simple resolution to all this, which is the violation number 2 that all barbers make, is I could have just put away money every single month or every single day into a savings account that was just specifically for when taxes came around. Think about it. A lot of barbers don't even put money aside for taxes. That's why we don't really take care of our shit the way we need to take care of it, because it's like when it comes that time of the year, we're like, oh fuck, maybe I have to pay so much. Oh man, I didn't take care of myself. I spent all my money. Fuck, I'm just not gonna I'm just gonna not tell Uncle Sam that I actually made this amount, so I don't have to pay that much because I don't have that money on hand. And then you again, too, if we go back to violation number 1, you're fucking yourself in the long term because you're not leaving a paper trail for yourself at some point in time to actually make big boy moves. Again, buy a house, get a loan for a business, buy a car, renting an apartment, for goddamn sake, right? Not living at your parents' house. This is all things that as barbers we have to understand and elevate ourselves and become more legit business owners, okay? Now, again, a very simple way you can just do this, like Luckily for me, I never had any issues paying taxes. I was blessed enough to the fact that I didn't get in trouble. I do know some barbers that did get themselves in trouble because they spent all their money that they made from profits from the barber shop or from cutting hair, and when time came around, they just started evading shit and stuff, and did shit very poorly and got caught up. Now, a very simple rule of this, again, no matter what state or city you're in, or even country, I'd say. I mean, everything has different laws, so by no means am I a tax expert. This is just a good broad rule. Just put away 30% of your profits every month, or put away 30% of your profits every week is probably a better thing to do. What I mean by profits is, again, you pay taxes on what the business profits overall. So take out any business expense, figure out what is a business expense in terms of your clippers, any education, could be your gas driving to work, food on the job. Figure out exactly what is a business expense which you can't write off, number one, and then subtract that from your overall profits or from your overall revenue or income every single week, and there you have your profits. And from that chunk, that is what you're going to be taxed on. Make sure you understand, again, put away 30% of that into a savings. Now, does this mean you're going to use all 30% of that to pay for taxes when the time comes? Probably not. But the good thing is, at least now you're saving some money on the side. You're probably not going to use all that savings for the thing it's actually being saved for. And then you also have to be stressed and worry. And then once you pay that off, you have a nice little lumps of cash to not blow on clothes, but to go out and invest in education, to go out and invest in the business, to go out and learn how to scale the business overall, which is very good. And I don't think there's anything bad about putting this away. Now, I would bring this with like a word of caution. And this is just my personal point of view. If you're staying stagnant in the business, meaning like you're staying at making $4K a month and you have no plans of scaling the income up every single month, or you don't have a plan and you don't see the results yet, I would continue saving 30%. Now, if you are planning on scaling the business or about to scale, what I mean by scaling is like you are about to dramatically increase your income, you can give yourself a little bit of leeway as long as it's an expense on the business, right? Because that way you get to use it as a tax write-off. Do not, if you're going to increase your income, right? Do not all of a sudden think like, okay, I can I can start blowing dumb money now to make more money. No, get a little bit tighter with your expenses. Make sure you're not being dumb with this thing. Again, make sure you understand what is a tax write-off on the business. Again, that way you're not deducted that in terms of what you are taxed for and what is not. Because I think a lot of barbers, they'll write off dumb shit in terms of like, they'll write, I mean, I'm pretty sure you can write off some clothing for barbering, but don't be writing off your fucking Gucci shoes, right? That you're going to wear out to the club that you wore one time to the shop. Like, that's dumb shit, right? And that's also not like, also, why are you spending money on that as a barber? Honestly, like end of the day, if you're making $6K a month and spending $2K on shoes just to flex, we got bigger issues than tax violations to worry about. All right. So that's tax violation number 2. Again, putting money aside at least 30% every single month. And again, if you're scaling the business up, making more income, make sure that whatever you are spending your money on to get to that point is a tax write-off in the business. That way it doesn't hurt you in the long run, as well as don't increase your expenses still. Okay. Tax violation number 3. Now, again, I'm no tax expert. Every single year, I was stressed the fuck out because I had no clue what the fuck I was doing. I was never taught anything. In fact, every single year, all I would do is go into Costco, get TurboTax, and try to piece things together online and figure it out, which was the most hectic thing possible. God bless my mom, but she even tried helping me because I had no clue what I was doing. She worked for the city of Sacramento for her whole life. She didn't know what the fuck she was doing either. And this is the main challenge. When you get 2 or more people trying to work on taxes, it becomes stressful. You don't know if you're filing it correctly, if you're going to get do something improperly or do some other type of violation on your taxes. And the resolution to this is very, very simple. Either make enough money, save enough money to pay for someone who is a specialist to help you with this. All right. Again, that's tax violation number 3 that barbers make every single year, is not hiring a tax CPA, your local tax CPA, to help you do your taxes. The beautiful thing about when you hire somebody like this, who's a tax CPA, who's local to your area, if you let them know, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, and you let them know, I just want to be the most tax efficient business possible. What do I need to get myself set up for that for next year? They will help you get everything set up in terms of LLCs, in terms of what you need to go, how to go and get it, where you need to go and get it out, what needs to be done. They will give you all that information. it is all, like a lot of barbers complain about taxes, yet don't take the proper steps in acquiring the knowledge and being around the right people to understand how to file taxes, or even like go to a specialist and just ask them questions. When you can work with a tax CPA, you can legit just you pay them, of course, and you can just ask them all the questions you need in terms of debriefing. Don't worry about sounding or seeming stupid at all. Honestly, we all have to start somewhere, and if you can just ask somebody to educate you on it while you're paying them to do the taxes, phenomenal. And you can learn while you're getting it done, and you don't have to worry about it not being done properly as well too, all at once. Tax violation number 3, not hiring somebody. Again, too, you should probably fix all these things after this video as well. Now, final tax violation number 4. Now, like anybody, when I first started cutting hair, I would go down a deep, dark rabbit hole of YouTube or any video playlist of why the government's bad and corrupt, and why the rich are terrible, the poor need to be taken care of, and all this other type of bullshit, right? Which led me to having the beliefs and the worldviews that led me to having all the prior 3 violations. Not hiring a tax CPA because I'm like, oh, I can't trust anybody. Oh my God, they're all liars. Which again, too, they're not. You just go out and ask to hire a tax CPA. They'll take care of you. They're gonna do anything bad with your money. They're not a scam. They're legal. Didn't want to go ahead and save money in the bank because I thought the bank was a terrible thing, and they would take money away from me, and then I didn't have any savings. I didn't know if I had enough for taxes and all that bullshit, right? And I think this led me to really having a hard challenge of understanding why were taxes even important. It led me to even more issues down the road of when I had to start up this business, New Era Barbering. I had to learn a little bit more about taxes. I had to understand, okay, what is the importance of this thing? And I think the big resolution or the big tax violation most barbers make is just overall not understanding and looking at taxes they don't look at taxes as a good thing, but as a bad thing. They look at it as almost like a negative, and having a bad relationship with taxes. Now, does anybody want to pay fucking money? No, nobody wants to go ahead and give the money that they make. But taxes do play an important role in today's society, and in any society as well too. I think the fucked up part is what the government does with the money, because I don't agree. I don't think anybody's going to agree with what they do with it, especially myself, because that is my hard-earned money that I'm paying for. But taxes are a necessary part of society to keep everything in the laws and certain people paid, and making sure we have things like roads being upkept, schools, all this other stuff, as well as laws that are put in place for businesses to, again, run as a business. Essentially, I would like to think of it as I am paying to play the game of capitalism. I am paying the government to go ahead and protect my business, saying that, yes, we back him up in anything in the court of law or anything like that. We protect his business. We protect his rights as a business owner. That is his business. He can make and keep this money. We do not take, and nobody else can take this from him. Because in some societies, whether it be way back, even before the United States came together, in terms of the United Kingdom back in Old England days, or even prior before them, there were civilizations and societies where the government basically was running everything, and the government controlled everything. Any business, no one was incentivized to improve the business or make money, because if they did, well, it wasn't even a government. It was just basically kings and queens would go ahead and say, this is my land. Technically, what you just did, I own. So give up, or I'm gonna chop your head the fuck off, right? So nobody wanted to improve anything. No civilization prospered, because everything was just, owned by the state. And so taxes kind of protect people in that sense and give people rights. And so, again, too, do I agree with everything? Absolutely fucking not. In terms of what the government does with my money. But I understand that capitalism is a pay-to-play game, and I am all right giving up however much percentage to play the game. Now, I do have a limit on what I will give up. I'm not happy about what I have to pay in fucking California. In fact, I'm thinking about moving to Florida. But as long as you start changing up your worldview of how you see taxes in the world of business, and again, as a barber, you are a business owner. If you start changing up that relationship, the entire game shifts of I should not do this, to everything we just talked about: putting money in the bank, putting money away and saving money for taxes, hiring somebody for a CPA. All of these things kind of fix themselves, because you understand this is what's required to be able to play and get the gains of capitalism in a capitalistic state. So Again, too, just to revise 4 violations. Make sure you guys go ahead and, if you like this episode, make sure you share it with one other individual, one other barber that also needs to hear this. Make sure, again, too, if you also like it, take a screenshot, share it on your story. Make sure to tag me in. I'll see you guys next episode.